Circle of Friendship. So, Mr. Shea, I see you on the screen there. If you can unmute yourself, and you got 5 minutes to speak to us. Thank you.
Quick correction there. It's Shea. Thank you.
Oh, my apologies, sir.
That's okay. That's okay. Happy Wednesday. It's me again, Jay Shea of the IAC and the Circle of Friendship Richmond Hill. I appreciate the opportunity to add more value to the previous delegations, regarding the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Plan, and specifically the repurposing of the Ayr Homestead on Elgin Mills between Yonge and Bayview. I do think that is important. I wanted to share some high-level data. Census Canada states that more than 46% of Indigenous populations do not live on reserves. Ontario has the largest Indigenous population in Canada, which consists of nearly 400,000 people. The total population in Toronto in the 2016 census was nearly 50,000 people, making up 0.8% of the population. The Indigenous population in Ontario increased by 54% from 2006 to 2016. In 2016, the census states that York Region has roughly 6,000 Indigenous people, representing 0.5% of the population. In 2006, it was nearly 4,000, which represents a 40% increase over that time. The population of Indigenous children aged 0 to 12 is also growing. We've seen an increase of 47% between 2006 and 2016. The significant change in data can be explained in 2 ways. Natural growth, or more likely, an increase in people voluntarily self-identifying as First Nations, Inuits, and Métis. Knowing this, we can expect an additional significant increase in the most recent census, which we don't have data to yet. If we look and compare some of these stats, Toronto, with a population representation of 0.8%, have several cultural and friendship centers. York Region, which has a representation of 0.5%, we, unfortunately, have nothing. We think it's important to note that we all know the Council is in support of the action plan towards truth and reconciliation. There's 2 areas in this plan that I'd like to point out that are simple and effective actions. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada recognizes the need for permanent funding that would support cultural growth. Action Plan 62 states the need for community-controlled healing and reconciliation projects. 63 states community-controlled cultural and language revitalization projects, which include community-controlled education and relationship building projects, and regional dialogues for Indigenous spiritual leaders and youth to discuss their spirituality, self-determination, and reconciliation. This is powerful because it doesn't exist in all of York Region. We know these models work as we have over 70 years of information, experience, and standardizations in place. Indigenous culture and friendship centers were first established in 1950. We have more than 100 centers across Canada. As I mentioned in my last delegation, we have already built an event calendar for this year. We were here to add value to the reconsiderations and repurposing of the Ayr Homestead. To leverage a building like this would create a structured place and increase the success in our mission. We, of course, believe in our group's ability to deliver such programs, services, and events. We collectively have over 40 decades of experience across family and child services, mental health, community outreach and events, as well as education and employment. All of these are the key indicators for continued success in our community. Our committee and group is mentored by elders, such as the ones who just spoke. We are driven by people that grew up with forced assimilation, with very little access to Indigenous cultures and traditions, and more than half of our committee was raised in Richmond Hill and all thought they were the only Indigenous people here. Should Richmond Hill feel in their quest to repurpose the Ayr Homestead into a cultural center is not a fit in their plan, we simply ask to create a motion that would give our group the opportunity to leverage a variety of city-owned properties under a 1-year pilot project that would encompass this Parks, Recreation, and Culture Plan. We will work with the city staff and council in providing all the information around our events, parameters, requests, dates, times, and working through any conflicts that may be in place to collaborate and adjust to new facilities and parks when required. And with all honesty, we are already moving forward with our plan. The question is, does the city of Richmond Hill want to support our plans to continue to establish yourselves as leaders in the path of truth and reconciliation, diversity, equity, and inclusion? To be frank, a land acknowledgement is not enough. We do have something very special we can accomplish together, and we don't want to do this alone. Our question to you, will you help us? Mekwich.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shea. Excellent presentation as always.